Yep. Everyday superpower. We talk body language, relationships, game, and everything in between. We've been covering some foundational stuff, and we're going to continue on moving. Something she doesn't want you to be as a man, something she finds repulsive, is you being too agreeable. Too agreeable. All right? Too much of a pushover. I've commented on this one or two times before because it's no understatement. It's been a very bold message through several conversations I've had relatively recently with women of all ages, women in relationships aside from women in marriages, okay? To the degree where, hypothetically, particular actions a man will take that embody the spirit of spinelessness will turn their partner off to such a degree as to where they will talk about them behind their back in a public forum, expressing the distaste it brings. Real talk. So yeah, this is important. This is important. As a man, you must be formless. As an intellectual, as a social butterfly, a chameleon of such, you must understand how to be formless, yet you must learn and understand when necessary to be steadfast and sturdy. The man who never says no gets bullied because the bully continues pushing at the boundary to see how far that boy can be pushed around. And when that boy never sets a solid and stable boundary, never verbalizes quite simply the word no, it allows room to continue pushing into the space of sheer dominance above and upon that poor person. It's the pecking order. This doesn't necessarily apply purely to relationships and how you speak to women. This applies to the workplace. It applies to other men in your space. It applies to friendship groups, families. I don't care if they think it's overkill. I don't care if they are blown back by your resistance to that which you deem something inappropriate, a pushing of your boundary, overstepping the mark. And arguably, I don't care if you lose out on a friendship or a relationship due to this. You needn't act first if somebody pushes at your boundary, but it's clear that they've assessed and measured that into continuing to push your boundary. Second time, if not the third time, it needs to stop there. You acknowledged it the first time. That's important. Now, the woman does not want a spineless man. The married woman comes to express dissatisfaction and indirectly reduces the husband to but a mere kitten in showcasing his spinelessness. Let me tell you some real stories. This man provides everything. This man's wealthy, rich. Just to be rich theory, right? Nah. You need to understand your position. You need to understand the relationship between feminine and masculine. Once you understand that, then you can be tall. Then you can be rich. Then you can be muscular. Then you can be anyone you wish to be. But if you don't understand the woman and the man, then you're gonna have a horrible time not being used and abused by the manipulative nature of that wild beast you let into your home. Respectfully, I love women, right? No rage over here, but I'm telling it as it is. They have an inbuilt mechanic that will break you down. And you live in a society that tells you that in order to actually engage correctly and appropriately with the woman, you are toxic. So you need to find the path least travelled, and then she will love you because you'll play the game right. Not saying you have to be toxic, but, you know, this place doesn't need strong men, does it? The governments don't want strong men because they can't control strong men. But she as a woman wants a strong man. That's the predicament. That's game. So, numerous stories. And I did a video based on people don't do things just once. So, what you see of someone, if somebody does an action or a behavior or says something or takes a drug or does a dance or gets scared or acts emotional, it's not a one-time thing. It's part of that individual's character. So if this man shows an act of spinelessness, and if this man is a pushover once, more than likely it's a pattern that's going to reappear throughout his life until he personally sorts it out. But we are not him. We can't change no one apart from ourselves. So if we see that weakness in him, we might as well just assume that is going to continue until they face a trauma so severe they have to look inwards, face the ego and change the behaviour. Most people won't do that, truth be told. He might be unconscious of his behaviour, such as we all are, to a large extent. So, this woman gets in an argument with another man. Her husband is in the vehicle as she argues outside of the window. She turns to her husband and says, "Are you not going to say anything?" And he doesn't. And the way he had lack of control over the situation was incredibly off-putting and repulsive to that woman, married, of multiple years, disregarding the lifestyle he provides for her. Did he have to say something? No, not necessarily. Why do you need to argue for the sake of somebody else? Why do you need to invite negativity in your life for the sake of somebody else's dispute? But the fact he can't turn to his missus and say, "You simmer down. I'm just going to drive off here. I'll deal with this." And then he drops her off and he walks back and has a calm, comfortable conversation with that individual. And at the very least says, "No problems to be had here, all right? No problems to be had here, all right?" And you might think, well, verbally, is that not an act of submission? No, because you're not going forth and going out of your way to bow down. You've taken the noise, the feminine out of the situation, and you've gone and engaged man to man, such as when you engage with the bully and you say, "We've got no problems, have we?" Do you see where I'm coming from? It's only when you say yes, 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 okay, okay, do this. I'm allowing it. Yes, yes, you can do that. Haha. When there's an issue. But the last thing that man expects is for you to meet him on his level. If you are to stand above and beyond him like you're a member of the mafia, you're going to invite a potential problem that you don't need. You've got a life to live. You've got health to look after. You might have kids to feed. In this situation, they have kids to feed. In this situation, he's got a job to get forward and work and do and maybe relaxation to have. Why is he going to go over there and punch a man in the face and get arrested? The lack of control over a situation through not having the essence to even do so if he wanted. The noticing of the pattern by the wife that he is always being pushed over, that he possesses the spirit and the entity of spineless jelly, gave her the appropriate reason to express that energy behind his back to those whom don't know much about him other than this new information that puts him in a negative light. If he had a character that would look after her, if he had a character that is of strength, if he had a character that is of bold boundaries and perimeters, she would acknowledge that one-time occasion as him playing the best role by being the masculine, being the man, being the smart, tough, resolute, stoic individual that did not need to get involved. His reputation would have preceded him in that arena. But the fact there is a pattern of behavior that represents this projection of character, she by default associates it with weakness, right? Shall we do this? Shall we do that? She asks the man, do you want to come to the shopping centre? I need to go get my nails done. And he says, yes, yes, yes. Okay, cool. But the fact over the weeks, over the months, over the years, he never says no, that's repulsive, because indirectly she thinks, have you got nothing better to do? You follow me around like a dog. It's less so that I'm asking you, you react as if it's a demand. You always say yes. How is my man gonna look after me when I know how easy it is to walk all over him? If you as a man don't agree with something she does or says, you can say no. And you don't need to say it in an emotionally driven manner. If there is something you don't agree with, if she presents you with an outfit and she says, how do I look? And you don't think the shoes match the jacket, you know. She's wearing a pair of trainers with a more, I don't know what the term is, more professional upper garment, you know, like a suit jacket and whatnot. And the trainers just don't work with it, don't match. It's just like a mismatch. She's going to respect you for saying, I think you should change those boots, but you look good. Just change those boots. You'd probably look better with them leather boots you wear instead of them trainers. She's going to respect you, and she's going to continue coming to you for guidance. And you should take this serious, right? You should never brush it off when she asks for your help and assistance and your opinion. Because she is looking to you as a beacon of direction and leadership. And that is whom you must be if you want to be perceived as a man, if you want to be perceived as a leader, if you want to be number one in her world, if you want to be treated like a king, you must be the king. Right? She can still be a queen, but you are the king. You are the leader of the castle. You are the leader of the household. You are the man of the house. To say, yeah, you look good, even though you don't think she does. She is the feminine. She is somebody who has got a biological fine-tuning to body language and nonverbal communication to ensure her safety and security in this primitive world full of strong men. She is gonna see that you are lying to her, and consciously she might not pick up on it. The message might not raise to the surface, but on an unconscious basis, you might push her away a little bit. And she might not know why. You know? She might go out dressed like that and be a little more loose in her behavior. She might not know why. It's because you're not applying masculine principle to your relationship. So she isn't going to act in her submissive feminine towards you. What more needs to be said? Don't be spineless. No, you know what? We'll continue riffing. Let's talk more real stories. Beautiful woman. I know. She's at the gym. There's a personal trainer who eyes her up regular. To a creepy degree. Honestly, there's more to the story proving the nature of this man. But to put a long story short, pays attention to it, blah, blah, blah. And I speak to her and I say, that's crazy, I think someone should have a word with him. Why don't you get your boyfriend to have a word with him? And she goes, what? Do you think, blah, 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 do you think he should do and all this and that? And I think, naturally, the fact that she's going to this place on a regular basis and this man is making her feel uncomfortable, evidently, clearly, you as a man at the very least should ask if she needs assistance. I mean, between you and me, right? In a perfect world, she'll say no because she can handle herself and it's fine. In a perfect world, right? Because I don't want to go and have conflict and confront people and get myself in a tiffy for the sake of this woman. But unfortunately, it's what you kind of have to do, right? You have to do that. You have to go down the stairs when there's a potential of a burglar and protect the house. You have to put your life at risk. That's the way you have to do this thing. Just hopefully it never comes upon your relationship that you have to do it at all, right? Hopefully you live a very comfortable, calm and clean life. As you grow older, you just want peace. Take it from me. Relationships I've been in, you learn to acknowledge some women are just fiends for drama. And once you've experienced it once or twice, it's not worth it anymore. But she questions me. What would you'd go and say something about advice? It's just like, well, yeah, because I feel it's in my right to do so, right? You're not going to do it. Turns out down the line that she asked me, and she was so fascinated by that, is because her boyfriend had acknowledged the fact he was eyeing her up, like on a staring basis, like gazing the hell out of her. And He brought it up to her. He actually amplified and concentrated, unintentionally shining the spotlight on the fact that he was weak by saying, do you know, he keeps looking over at you. And he didn't do anything. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't know how she responded to him. Maybe she acted out like this was the first time ever. But if it was so clear that he walked over and had to make a comment to his missus, it was also clear enough that he should ask her, do you want me to go over and have a word? You see? You have to read the signs and you have to act appropriately. And this is why you need to understand that your relationship is going to be full of tests. And these tests aren't so problematic as they are relationship building, because if you fail the test, she's going to deem you as lesser. But if you pass the test, she's going to look at you like Superman. There needs to be an action and a reaction to these tests. Yeah? On that note, I'm signing out. Click like and subscribe. Peace.